You can look in all directions with grasping for not grasping itself. My for my itself, let's not be just beaming in one direction. Shift into beyond 360 degrees in all directions. In the way of not grasping for the non-grasping itself, my from my itself. When you look and see and know anything, you have to mind from mind itself at the same time, so that there is no clashing towards all things. Cutting is within here. Mind from mind itself at the same time is the cutting within itself. There is the cutting to not clash with samsara, to not clash like the worldlings, because there will be a lot of sensations, a lot of vedana. It will add more of vedana and sensations to yourself. Therefore, whatever you do in the way of mind from mind itself simultaneously, that is cutting the clashing. The mighty force will be in the way of cutting for samsara at the same time, purifying at the same time. But if you not mind from mind itself simultaneously, there will be the mind that acknowledge all things. There will be a lot of Vedana. That's the worldling's way. It's only clashing and clashing. Chon means clash. Mind from mind itself, that's it. It helps through cutting for one another, not always clashing, adding the mind to each other, on and on. So let's be thorough with everything, from not grasping for the non-grasping itself. This will turn into helping through releasing and liberation for everything simultaneously. This will soften down for samsara, to help samsara softening down simultaneously. Everything is from mind, which is from mind itself. Step back, then step back from the stepping back itself. Not grasping from the non-grasping itself. From mind itself, from not grasping, from the non-grasping itself. With everything. The habit of always clashing with everything is a lot. That is the habit of clashing. Always clash and clash and clash. This is the problem. It makes oneself unbearable towards anything. Whatever you clash with, that is the problem. Because there is no cutting within the cutting itself, not mind from the mind itself. There is always acknowledging and clashing, focusing to one another. That's the problem itself. One's own problem, that is the thing, the point. Therefore, step back from the stepping back itself. This will cut off the problem. All the clashing will be cut off. Dissolve itself from not grasping for the non-grasping itself. boundless realms of existence, it sucks up the karmic difficulties from them, pulling the karmic difficulties out of them. Therefore, the beings at the wall will be totally released. That's what's happening with the blessing. Blessing anyone or anything will be suck up their karmic difficulties out from them. You bless the beings, that means pulling out the beingness from the beings, purifying. You meeting someone, you can ask, what are you doing? Are you cutting the knowing yet? Are you enlightened yet? What have you been doing? This is the conversation between the Vietnamese and Long Po. No? There is no need to be considerate to the beings, otherwise you're gonna raise all these realms of existence, raising up. If you fall in stillness, you're gonna be like the meditative power blocking yourself, dominating yourself. Keep opening the coconut shell constantly. All directions, here and there, all directions, so that there is no maintaining specifically with any state or anything. Beyond 360 degrees. further. This will shift and releasing out, unwinding. Proceeding in the way that the discarding itself. Proceeding in the way that the non-grasping is not grasping for itself, then there is a purification. A kind of consecration, a kind of making something holy is not the way that Luang Por is doing. Whatever entertainment, if you invite them to do anything as a ritual, that is not okay. You want to make the dancers to become holy? Can you do that? That is using meditative power in the wrong way. Instead, sharing the perfection and purification for the samsara. It's not enough to having the coconut shell blocking oneself, but sharing others also in such a way. Proceed with that which is from not attached to the non-attachment itself, uninvolved within the involvement itself, helping through unwinding and liberation for everything. Let's proceed it. This is not about distributing meditative power, that kind of coconut shell covering one to the other on and on. Talking about using the something that like an amulet, kind of something to protect oneself, to not like bulletproof, just don't shoot others so no one will shoot you, so the karma will not bounce back to you. Everything is under the law of karma. If you do something to others, they will do something back to you as well. Have been within yourself for too much, you retaining suffering, karmic difficulties, sensations, and everything too much. keep on opening, it will release out and unwinding automatically. It's impossible to take in knowing or seeing. It's ungraspable. That's why not grasping for the non-grasping itself, so that it will be truly releasing. The mind cannot be grasped. Any state of mind, knowing or seeing, is impossible to grasp. It's not something that is graspable. That's why you need to use everything is not grasping for the non-grasping itself. This will be totally releasing, discarding the releasing itself at the same time. In this way, there is no retaining of suffering, Vedana, sensations, or karmic difficulties. Suffering is because the suffering is retained within oneself, being sunken within it. That's why opening up constantly as giving. Beyond opening, further and further. Without limitations to the opening. Let's not be awkward with any situations first. Therefore, whatever you perceive, inside or outside, proceed simultaneously with the essence. My for my itself, absolutely, within or without, that's all. The essence will be sharpening. That which is not it or it is. Let's not use the no to put an idea about this isn't it. That's not it. Let's not be obsessed with no, to use the no to reject something. No is not even no itself. If you don't know how to bless, don't go. Wherever you go, you have to enable to bless. Otherwise, why are you going? Enable to bless them wherever you go. Just to go to connect, no need. They already connected with you. Always linking with each other. Don't use this word of connection. Purify. My from my itself is about purification, not about connection. When you connect, karma to karma will link to you. Lots of crying already. Just ask someone who is doing that. Linking, channeling, or whatever. You just connect with karma to one another. My for my itself instead. There's no need to compromise. It's a waste of time if you don't know how to bless to go somewhere. It's too exhausted to sit on the plane. Freedom seems good, but it's not the way. It has to be in a way that truly not minding, not identifying. Then everything will become in moderation naturally. Neither is about communism or democracy. Insanely according one's own way, democratic. Communism really insane with power. Ruling in a way that has nothing within rulings, purified through the extinction and emptiness, through unwinding, softening for one another, softening lifestyles and problems for one another. Be obsessed with just identifying, minding to each other, that is creating something that make it worse. Ruling in a way that has nothing in rulings. They are always distorting, interpreting this way and that way, ruling in a way without anything within ruling. But if they use adding on in this way and that way, that is already further than the essence. The problem is that there is someone who rules. Instead, ruling without anything ruling. Identifying, minding with anything, creating problems in itself. That's why the saying, everything is from not grasping for the non-grasping itself, not attached to the non-attachment itself. Purifying all the add-ons, adding on of lifestyles, adding on the rulings, purifying the add-on of the Satchidhamma as well, adding on the Satchidhamma, the Dhamma, that's the Samudaya, the cause of suffering and the suffering itself.